Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a question and answer video all about my twin pregnancy and miscarriage journey. So if this is the first video of mine that you've kind of stumbled upon, I did recently get pregnant with twins. They were identical twin girls and they did miscarry at 12 weeks gestation. I have documented the entire process from start to finish. I have a playlist that I'll link down below for you guys so you can go back and watch it if you want to see what happened and all of that. But this is going to be, I think, the last video for now that I'm going to film specifically around all of this, just because I feel like I know that this grief journey will never end for me. I will think about this for the rest of my life. But as far as YouTube goes, I would like to get back to my regularly scheduled content, makeup and mommy related. I think I'm ready to move on from that perspective. So I do have 3 more twin related videos that I filmed while I was pregnant. So I do think I'm going to post those eventually, whether that's this month, next month, whenever it may be. But as far as filming specifically about this whole miscarriage and pregnancy, I think this is going to be the last one. Okay, so by far the most common question in some form or fashion is, when are you going to try to conceive again? Or another one is, do you plan to try again ASAP or take some time to heal? So what my doctor told me was there's no medical reason why we need to wait more than 1 complete cycle. So that means waiting for my period to come back and then trying that ovulation cycle. So, you know, that would probably be right around like mid-March. As far as medically, that's the earliest we should try or could try. And then she said, if you want to be extra safe, wait 2 cycles. So that would be 2 periods and then, you know, ovulation after that second period. And the reason why is that will tell us that my body has recovered from the D&C and is back to its healthy baseline state. As far as are we going to try that soon, you know, I don't know. I think my husband and I will really need to reevaluate and talk about it when that time comes. We don't want to miss the window. You know, if we want to try, we don't want to miss it, but we also don't want to force ourselves to think we have to try it then. I was told by my doctor that it's very likely, you know, that we will have an otherwise healthy, normal pregnancy next time. But there's always those thoughts that go through your mind after a miscarriage. You have to think about, are you ready to go through that early pregnancy again? Early pregnancy is so scary, you guys. And I'm so jealous of my naive, ignorant mind of when I was pregnant with my son. I have an 18-month-old son. He had a healthy pregnancy and I'm so like, I miss the naive ignorance, like that blissful just joy I had where I thought nothing could go wrong, and like now I know what can go wrong. And so it's like I need to make sure I'm ready to go through all those emotions again. So are we going to try again right away? I don't know. Maybe. I think we need to wait until that time comes and then decide then. I got a couple of questions specifically about the sex of the twins. So how did you feel finding out the sex of your twins? Another one says, does knowing the sex help with the grieving process? And she said, my miscarriage, I didn't know the sex. I will say, so my twins were girls. They were identical twin girls, and the chromosomal abnormality that they had was specific to being a girl, to being a female. So I can't say that specifically knowing they were girls helped with the grieving process, but I will say knowing that they had that chromosomal abnormality is what helped with the grieving process. So indirectly, I will say yes. As far as how did I feel finding out the sex of them, I didn't initially want to know. I talked to my mom a lot about it, and my initial gut was finding out the sex of them is going to make this even more real. And I hate saying that because it is real, obviously, but when you know the sex of your potential, what could have been kids, you start to envision the potential future that you could have had. You envision them getting ready for their prom or picture day at school and, their wedding day and things like that. And so knowing that these were girls, it is hard because I will always think about, milestones in their life, and I'll compare their life to what my life has been or what their life would have been. And if you know me personally, you know that I am one of 6 girls. So I have 5 sisters, we're all girls, and I have 14 nephews. So my dad has I have 13 nephews, 14 including mine. So my dad has 14 grandsons, basically. Biologically, I don't have any nieces. So none of my sisters biologically have girls. And so, I mean, yeah, a part of me is sad that I could have, brought 2 little girls into the family, and I think we're all excited and ready for a girl eventually. And so now I'll never know, if I'll ever have a girl here on earth with me. I have very mixed emotions knowing that they are girls. It's hard to put into words. It's hard to say. I love my son so much. I can't even picture myself as anything other than a boy mom. I just can't. I don't even know how I would handle 2 girls. I really don't. And in fact, before I knew they were girls, when I was still pregnant, I remember telling everybody, like, oh my God, 2 girls? Could you even imagine at the same time if I had 2 girls? That's 2 girls going through puberty at the same time and all the hormones and all of that stuff. And, it's so ironic that they actually were girls now looking back saying that. So I don't know. I don't really know what I'm trying to get at. I feel like I'm rambling, but it was very mixed emotions because, of course, a part of me wants a baby girl, and now I have 2 of them. They're just in heaven. They're not here on earth. Next question is, do you hope for twins again next time? Honestly, honest to God, I do not care next time if I have 1 or 2 or 3 babies. I don't care if they're boys or girls. I just want a healthy pregnancy. So, do I care or do I hope? No. If I get twins again, that would be amazing, miraculous. I think if God wants us to have twins, then he'll give us twins next time. Next question is, you mentioned in one of your videos that you got pregnant your first try. Can you talk about how you did this? I've thought really strongly about making a video all around this because we got pregnant 3 times in our first try, and I'm just trying to figure out in my mind how to make that video like PG-13, basically. It would be a very TMI video, and I do have lots of family that watch my channel, and so I don't know if I'm necessarily comfortable sharing that level of my intimate life, you know what I mean? But I will say, just generally speaking, a lot of it derived around being aware of my cycle. So human conception, how it works in general, what the timing of when it happens. All 3 times I tracked either with an app on my phone, with ovulation test strips, or just being aware of the physical symptoms my body gives me when I'm ovulating. And so all 3 times it was a combination of 1 or all 3 of those things, and making sure, you and your spouse have sex on the right days, and that's really what it is. So as far as specifics goes, I don't know if I want to get into it, but if you are like dying to know if I have enough people rally for it, then maybe I'll make a video all about it. So the next question is the most common question I got pretty much any time I told anybody I was pregnant with twins. They said, do twins run in either of your families? So the short answer is yes. The more complicated specific answer is no. So I'll give you guys the long answer. So background on twins. Identical twins are completely random, meaning anybody who gets pregnant has the same statistical probability of conceiving twins, and that's when your one egg zygote splits into 2 embryos. So anybody has that chance. So it doesn't matter if it runs in your family. Even if your sister or your mom have identical twins, it doesn't mean you have any more or less probability of conceiving twins. Fraternal twins are caused by something called hyperovulation, which is typically something that's passed on by your mom. So if your mom was a hyperovulator, she could have passed that genetic down to you, which then makes you a hyperovulator. So it runs on your mom's side of the family. So in that case, I would have to completely disregard my husband and his family because it doesn't matter. So now looking at my side of the family, one of my sisters does have fraternal twins, but her and I do not have the same mom. So we have the same dad. We're half sisters. We don't have the same mom. So even though she has fraternal twins, that doesn't increase my chances at all of having fraternal twins just because she does. So I would specifically have to look at my mom and my sister, who also shares the same mom as me, and then kind of go up that family tree. And no, fraternal twins are not something that is on my mom's side of the family at all. So if these had been fraternal twins, it would have been the first, to my knowledge, on my mom's side of the family. But I had identical twins, so it was just completely random. Next question is, before you knew you were pregnant with twins, did you feel anything different? And I did. I actually filmed one of the videos I talked about earlier in this video. So I filmed 3 videos while I was pregnant. One of those was how I knew this was twins before it was confirmed I had twins, basically. So before that first ultrasound. And there were some slight signs. Obviously, there was no real way I could have known. I couldn't see inside. I didn't know. And I think the only way you know is if you had fertility treatments done. And you had, like 2 eggs implanted via IVF or something like that. So there was no real way I knew, but to give you guys a sneak peek at that video, I got a positive pregnancy test really early, like a strong positive pregnancy test, 12 DPO. That was like the test line was almost darker than the control line that early. As far as seeing a positive test, it started at like 9 or 10 DPO and it got fast real fast. Like it got dark really, really fast. So that was the first thing. I was like, I remember I sent a picture of it to my friend and I was like, this is really dark so early. Like, I don't know if that means twins dark, like what's going on. So that was the first thing. And then there's just a couple of other things. My morning sickness kicked in really, really early at like 4.5 weeks, which doesn't mean twins always. It could, be a number of different things, but that was one of the things. I was also hyper aware of just twins in general around me. I felt like everybody around me was having twins and I knew of all these twin pregnancies and I was really aware of it and I felt it inside of me when someone said they were having twins, you know what I mean? So just little things like that, but there's really no way to know. There isn't like a test you can take. The only way you will know is through your ultrasound. Blood work could identify it. In my situation, blood work would not have identified it because they were identical twins. So even if I had gotten NIPT testing done, it would have came back as 1 strand of DNA. In fact, it did only come back as 1 strand of DNA in our genetic testing results. So, blindly taking that, even that wouldn't have told us it was twins. So really, you can only tell through ultrasound or, when you deliver your twins and surprise, there's 2 babies instead of 1. Next question is, curious on why your cervix looked how it did and the bleeding with the twins. I'm always afraid of that. So if you haven't seen my other videos, I did explain in my first video that early part of this pregnancy, I did have a lot of like bleeding, spotting, and things like that. And I went to the doctor for it twice actually. And both times I was told I had a really, really irritated cervix. Kind of like you fell and skinned your knee. That's what it looked like. And, I never really followed up on that. I don't know why I never did. I probably should. I do know that throughout my entire adulthood, every single time I've gotten a pap smear, I have been told that I have a sensitive cervix. So it makes sense that my cervix was irritated, but I don't know why it was irritated. I didn't do anything that would cause it to be irritated. I know my doctor asked questions like, you know, did you put anything inside your vagina? You know, and I think she was implying like toys and finger, and I was like, no, nope, not me. And I didn't, you know. I do like to take baths a lot, so I did take baths when I was pregnant, warm baths, and I don't know if that could have done it. Maybe like a bath bomb that I used or bubble. I don't know. I was never told. So I don't know. We didn't do testing on it or anything like that. But I do know that bleeding and spotting is pretty common in early pregnancy, especially twin pregnancies. One of the things I was told is a lot of time, especially when your twins have separate sacs, which mine did, there's a lot of like bruising that can happen between the sacs, and therefore that can cause spotting. But in my specific situation, we don't really know what ever caused the spotting. It did go away eventually. And then it never came back. Next question is it more likely to have another miscarriage after having two? In my situation, I was told no. So my first miscarriage was a chemical pregnancy. Those are very, very common. So common that most of the time women don't even know they're miscarrying because it happens relatively around the same time as you would have your period. So unless you are testing for pregnancy, you wouldn't know. You would just think that maybe your period is a little bit late. I have to believe it was because of some sort of implantation error. I don't know. Chemical pregnancies are so common, and sometimes we don't know. We never really know, because unless you test the tissue, you won't really know what happened, you know, and you can't see it on an ultrasound. So like visually, you can't tell if there was like an implantation. You just don't know. So I can't make assumptions about that one. I don't know. But as far as my second miscarriage goes, so my twin miscarriage, that was due to a chromosomal abnormality that was not inherited. So it's completely random chromosomal abnormality. Anybody who gets pregnant has the same likelihood of conceiving a child with this chromosomal abnormality. It's caused by cell division error. And so because of that, the chances of that happening next time are very, very, very slim, like almost impossibly slim. So my doctor said no, I have no reason to believe that I will miscarry again. She said, in fact, my chances of a healthy, normal pregnancy next time are extremely high, especially after a miscarriage. Statistically speaking, the likelihood of it happening again for this type of reason is very, very low. Next question is, how does your husband feel about you sharing this information online? So I actually asked him if he wanted to be in this video. He said, he gave me the answer of like, yes, but no. Basically, he was like, well, if you really want me to be in the video, I will, which to me says he doesn't, you know, because if he wanted to, he would have been like, yeah. So clearly he's not here. But he is actually the one who encouraged me to share it online. The morning before I filmed my miscarriage story, I talked to him a lot, and I said, how do you feel about me sharing this information online? Because in my mind, I had gone back and forth and back and forth. And it was like one day I was gung-ho, I was ready to share it all. And then the next day I was like, I don't want this information on the internet. I don't want everybody to know what's going on. It's so personal. My family sees this, you know, old co-workers see this, and childhood friends, and like, you know, so part of me, I was like back and forth and back and forth. And so I asked him, how do you feel about it? And he's the one who said I should do it. He's the one who encouraged me to do it. Him and I both agree that people don't talk about this stuff nearly enough. I think if it was talked about more and people understood it more, it would be less scary to talk about. It would be less taboo. It would be less sensitive, and people would just overall be more educated, more aware of miscarriage in general. And I know when I was going through it, I relied heavily on watching YouTube videos of miscarriage stories, reading blogs about it. It helped tremendously in the grieving process. And even from his perspective, he said, knowing that a couple of his friends had gone through this, one of his really close friends, in fact, him and his wife went through it, not too long ago. So knowing that, he said, made him feel, I don't want to say better, but just less alone, and, sharing it on a broader level. Yes, it's scary. It puts you in a very vulnerable situation. Anybody watching this video, future bosses, my future children, family, friend, everybody. Now, anybody who searches on the internet, who has access to the internet, could know so many personal details of my life, which is scary, yes. But it's also, it provides a sense of solidarity and a sense of community. And I think people need to talk about it more. They do. And then from a personal stance, it has helped me so much in the grieving process. It has been very therapeutic for me. It has been so nice to just get it all out. It's kind of like journaling, but instead it's making a video. And the outreach of people that have like talked to me because of this. I've gotten so many stories from you guys, and it's been so comforting. And this last video that I posted was about Turner syndrome, which was the chromosomal abnormality identified in my twins. And I never in a million years thought that somebody with Turner syndrome would see that video and reach out to me. And 2 people reached out to me on Instagram, you guys, and said, I have Turner syndrome. And the way that made me feel was, I can't even put it into words. It was like this sense of kind of relief that, my angel babies share this miraculous, super rare, syndrome with 2 people that I got to talk to. I feel so blessed and so lucky that I was able to talk to those women, and knowing that I was talking to 2 absolute miracles. They defied all odds to be alive. So the fact that I was talking to these 2 women that literally defeated odds to be alive, I just felt like it just gave me these feelings. And I'm not putting this into words correctly. I can't. I don't know how. But I even told my husband, I was like, somebody who has Turner syndrome sent me a DM, and he just kind of stopped and he looked around and he goes, wow. And he said it exactly like that. And so I know he was feeling that same feeling I just tried to explain to you. And we both were kind of just like, wow. So I guess what I'm trying to say is social media can be a very powerful, very useful, very educational tool if used correctly. And I think stories and situations like this are exactly what social media should be used for, in my opinion. So that was a really long answer, and I hope that you can kind of see. So short answer is, my husband encouraged me to do it. We're on board together. This is our story together. So yeah. Okay guys, well this is already going to be an extremely long video, and my camera battery is about to die. So that's pretty much all the questions. I did get a lot of questions about how am I feeling. Overall, I'm going to say, like I said in the beginning of the video, my grief journey will never end. There's going to be things in my life that trigger me, and I just have to deal with those emotions as they come. But I will say every day gets better and better, and I'm feeling more content with the situation. I'm hopeful for the future. I'm excited for the future. And a lot of that has to do with you guys. So thank you so much for following me on this journey, for being here with me, for all of your love and your support and your prayers. And I can't thank you enough for it. So thank you so much. And that's going to be it for now. So I'll talk to you next time. Bye.